Well, Coach, the Broncos get a split up in Colorado College, maintain their third place position with a healthy gap from North Dakota in fifth place for home ice. What were the big differences there between Friday and Saturday?
Well, first of all, Colorado College is a real good team. If you take a look at their recent games, the number of overtime losses they've had against the top 3-4 teams in our league, we have to recognize they're a very good hockey team. I think certainly our defensive play, if we looked at the weekend, the fact that we gave up the number of goals that we gave up, that's a concern for us. When we looked at Saturday night's game, and we're talking about an 8-2 win for our opponents, that game in the second period when it was 2-2, we had enough opportunities to score 3 or 4 and take a lead that they might not have recovered from. Came out in the third, some individual mistakes, turned the puck over, our compete level dropped, and we didn't get the job done. It's interesting looking at statistics, and that's, obviously sometimes you do that when you lose, which is the wrong thing, and there's no verification or feeling good about statistics, but we were outchanced 22-18, and the majority of their chances came after they got their fourth goal. So we didn't play as well defensively. We were not in outnumbered situations. We had guys back. We just didn't pick up the right people, and certainly a great week of preparation in terms of our defensive play is needed to play a real good team like St. Cloud. Right now we're sitting with 14 games played since Christmas. Our record is 9-5 in those 14 games. In the last 8 games, we're 5-3. In the last 6 games, we're 3-3. This team is in a much better position than we were last year and have done some strong things. Now it's how we finish in the last 4 regular season games and how we play in the playoffs. It's going to indicate the season we've had.
I know you hope it's not your final home series of the year. You hope that you lock up the hosting and whatnot, but at the same time, it's another top-ranked team. It's another exciting environment. What do you look forward to most about knowing when you bring a top team, and you're a top team as well, into this building for a weekend series?
Well, first of all, I would never use the word hope. You can't be hoping when you're playing in a competitive element or a league that like we're playing in. You've got to prepare and believe in your team and believe in your players and make sure that they go into the game with a game plan, knowing that if they execute, we'll be successful. So there's no hoping on our part. We're playing a really good team with St. Cloud. We've got games to win this year, and certainly we plan to be ready to play them on Friday night.
You played them tough twice there. What do you look forward to when you're looking at the film, watching them now?
I would say that we didn't play them real tough in St. Cloud, and thanks for being kind of kind to us, because you'll talk to Cole Conrad here in a bit, and he'll tell you we didn't play very well up at St. Cloud. That's a credit to them. They're a really good team playing on the big ice surface up there where they've yet to lose a game this year. But we have to play a lot better. We got to be a lot more focused in terms of our puck management. They score a lot. They defend really well, so they've got a lot of key ingredients, and there's a reason why they're in first place. But they're coming here to play at Lawson, and we need to make sure that we use that to our advantage.
One thing they did do well that weekend was take advantage of the big ice, especially with their trailers. They seemed to do a good job of getting wide and then hitting that defenseman or late forward coming back. What can you do to kind of prevent that happening from this weekend?
Adam, you've become much more than just a communications director here. You're a great hockey analyst, and you called it right. I mean, certainly, and it was similar to the issues that we had in Colorado College. We didn't pick up the right people. We had guys back, but we weren't engaged enough in our defensive responsibilities. And, our players will tell you, we're good when we're giving up 2 goals or less against, and that's what we have to be successful against St. Cloud. And they're a pretty good team, so they're going to come at us. We're going to have to be real good this weekend, which we will prepare for and plan to be.
You mentioned now you're 3-3 in the past 6 games. Fundamentally, do you see a big difference in your team's play now compared to the 10-game unbeaten streak you were on earlier?
Well, 10-game unbeaten streak is quite a feat. I think there's only 2 other teams this year in college hockey that have done that. And what that does is it tells you can win 10 in a row. And there's a way that you have to play. And again, it was our defensive play. If we look at the goals against and the shots against, we were in a favorable position in most of those games with those numbers. So we have to be better defensively. We have to manage the puck better in the offensive zone. Can't turn it over, can't turn the puck over in the neutral zone. So there's a recipe for success. But, when you've done it, you're capable of doing it again. And, we've played 4 of the last 6 games on the road here in the last 6 games. In college hockey, it's difficult to win 2 games in a row, and you've got to make sure you bear down. And we weren't as good as we needed to be on Saturday. We weren't as good in the second period as we needed to be when we had chances to score. We're an offensive team, and we didn't bury some of our opportunities. The other thing, we take a 5-minute major penalty, and then we're on a 5-on-3 early in the hockey game, and you can't let that happen either.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Colts, final regular season home series of your career. Has it begun to set in yet?
No, not really. I don't know if it ever will too. Coming up, we just got off a pretty disappointing last game, and our sole focus is going to win, or is that we have to win the next game. So we're not really thinking too much about anything else. Senior weekend, the families are going to be in town, and it's going to be pretty cool. But I don't really think it's going to hit until after the 2 games. So.
What's the biggest change you guys need to make from Saturday's game to this Friday?
Team defense. It's hard to win when when you're letting up 8 goals. Like Coach talked about in the second period, we were tied 2-2, and then we let it slip. We had one guy score 4 goals, and you can't let that happen in any league and expect to win. So it's a credit on them. They played well. They played hard. They were relentless on the puck, and we needed to be better. And so we're going to take a look at things this week and make sure that we have a total team buy-in defensively, and then make sure that we can bury our chances when we get them.
There are not all that many, but there's a good group of you who have played in the NCAA tournament and have experienced that. Are you guys discussing amongst each other the need to keep the focus one game at a time?
Yeah, definitely. We kind of let some games slip here that maybe hurt us in the pairwise ranking. But to get the chance to play against the number 1 team in the country here, St. Cloud, our sole focus is to come out with a win on Friday night, and we're going to do everything in our power to prepare this week to make sure that's the result. And yeah, like you said, we got a bunch of guys who've played in the NC tournament from a bid in because of how we prepared during the season. And right now we're kind of on that bubble where, we could let it slip or we could keep pushing and get another bid in. And, the leadership in the room has to take control of that and make sure that the younger guys are fully aware of what's about to happen here.
Going back to this weekend, you've played in a lot of games in this building, and you've played number 1 teams in this building. To get a chance to close your at least regular season home career against number 1 team, what does that mean to you?
That's a tough question because obviously we want to win, and that's, like I said, it's sole focus to get the win on Friday night, and then after that game, we're going to focus on winning the next game. But to have a number 1 team come in and to our building, past 4 years, I guess, starting with Omaha my first year, we swept them, and then we swept a bunch of teams, North Dakota, Duluth. We got a lot of great teams coming to our building, and just not be able to handle the game. The Lunatics, they make it real hard for the other teams. So we're excited to see what happens, and we're just going to be prepared to do whatever it takes.
Your opponents have scored first in, I believe, 5 of the past 6 games. What can you guys do to reverse those slow starts this weekend?
We just got to play up harder. But I was just going to say, our first couple shifts aren't the problem. It's to keep the pressure up. Saturday night, we took a 5-minute major real early in the game, and then we got another penalty, and they had a full 2-minute 5-on-3 so it's hard to set yourself up for success when you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot like that. As a team, though, we got to have complete buy-in and focus, and we can't be taking penalties like that. And we just got to play our game, get pucks deep, be physical, take the body, and drive the net. So, it's tough to play when you're in a hole, but we're pretty good at coming back. So we're really focused on getting the first goal though for sure this weekend.
Thanks, Colt.
Thank you.